Shalom, good afternoon to all of you. I know for a long time, and I love the story about Kamsa and Bar Kamsa, but I disagree with it. I don't think Jerusalem was destroyed because of Kamsa or Bar Kamsa or the heartless host, not even because the modesty, the exaggerated modesty of the sages. Jewish Jerusalem was destroyed not once but twice because of Jewish fanatics. And if Jewish Jerusalem, heaven forbid, is going to be destroyed a third time, and Arab Jerusalem with it, it will be because of Jewish and Arab fanatics, with all due respect to Kamsa and Bar Kamsa. Allow me to begin on a very personal note. Before we touch on the radioactive issue of the sacred places and the holy places and the secular places and the profane, to me, one place in Jerusalem has been sacred since I was a little boy, the library. I am a son of a librarian. I happen to be also the son of in-law of a librarian, the husband of an archivist, the brother-in-law of another librarian, and the father of 3 writers. What else could I be? Which other place could be more sacred to my heart than libraries? So thank our hosts, and may the library prosper and overcome diversities, not just overcome them, reflect them, represent them, love them. Now, my grandmother Shlomit, my late grandmother Shlomit, who died almost exactly 60 years ago, long before the Six-Day War, long before the disputes about the holy places in Jerusalem, she might have had the answer to the problem of the future of the disputed holy places in Jerusalem. When I was a little boy, maybe 4, maybe 5, Grandma Shlomit explained to me in simple words the difference between Jew and Christian, not between Jew and Muslim, but between Jew and Christian. You see, my boy, she said, the Christians, they believe that the Messiah have been here once and he will come again one day. We Jews, we happen to believe that the Messiah had not been here and he is still to come. Over this dispute, said Shlomit, Grandma Shlomit, you cannot imagine, my boy, how much bloodshed, hatred, persecution, cruelty. Why, she said, why can't everybody simply wait and see? If the Messiah comes saying, hello, it's nice to see you again, the Jews will have to convert or at least to apologize to the Christians. If, on the other hand, the Messiah comes saying, how do you do? Very nice meeting you. The entire Christian world will have to convert or at least to apologize to the Jews. She knew 1 or 2 things about open-ended situations and about open-ended solutions. Why can't we all agree that the disputed holy places in Jerusalem would be accessible to every worshipper? Spatial arrangements, which I'm not going to discuss here today, not that I know what they should be, but accessible to every worshipper, and no flag will wave above any of those disputed holy places until the Messiah comes and tells us which is the true faith. Maybe he will come with something no one of us have ever considered before. Who knows? Until then, live and let live. Open-ended solution. But really, I jumped straight to my bottom line. This should have come at the end of my presentation. As a little boy, I studied for many years in a primary Zionist religious school for boys only called Tachkemoni. It made me perfect ignorant about many things, about girls, for instance, perfect ignorant. But yes, I learned 1 or 2 things about holiness, about the sacred. In fact, when I was a pupil in Tachkemoni, I had a very clear idea what is sacred and what is holy, and what is the holy land and the holy city and the holy sites and the holy places and the holy books. Today I understand a lot less. I am a lot more confused than I was then. I mean, I have a good understanding, I hope, a good understanding how crucial it is to respect that which is sacred to other people. Not only for high-flown moral reasons, but for very practical reasons, for reasons of life and death. How crucial, vital it is to respect what other people regard as sacred or holy, even if you yourself don't share their view. But what is holy to me? What is sacred to me today? Well, a new set of emphases of Jewish values is reflected in a book written by my daughter, Fania, Professor Fania Oz Salzberger, who is here with us, and with my participation. We offer human solidarity, justice, sharing. We offer the rule of law. We offer family values. We offer the family table. We offer stories. Yes, we offer sense of humor as components of the Jewish heritage. And I will add to that human life, human suffering. In sad moments, I sometimes tend to condense all the commandments in the world into one single commandment. Thou shalt not inflict pain on others. Not that it will help. The world will remain a painful place even if all of us miraculously stop inflicting emotional or physical pain on others, and we won't. But suppose we do. The world will still remain painful. There is pain enough to go round. There may not be love enough to go round, but there is pain enough to go round without ourselves adding pain upon pain. Now, pain is a great human equalizer. Pain is a democratic experience. Sometimes I say tongue-in-cheek that pain is almost a socialist. It doesn't distinguish between rich and poor, Jew and Christian and Muslim and pagan, secular and religious, old and young, men and women. Pain is pain. My daughter Fania corrected me on this. She said that some privileged people, when they suffer pain, their suffering might be eased by their privileges. Correct. And yet pain is a great unifier. We all know what pain is. Which is why I disagree with Jesus Christ. I love him. He's close to my heart. But I disagree with him on a few things. I never agreed with Jesus Christ on the idea of universal love. Everybody loving everyone else. This is very sweet, but very childish. I disagree with Jesus when he says, forgive them, for they know not what they are doing. Yes, I do agree with Jesus sometimes about the forgiveness. Sometimes we ought to forgive, sometimes we can forgive, not always. But I disagree with him vehemently about the we know not what we are doing. Oh, yes, we know. We are not moral idiots. We are not moral infantiles. We are not morons. When we inflict pain on others, we know exactly what we are doing. Sometimes we know and we still inflict pain on others, physical or emotional, but we know what we are doing. Oh, yes, we do. We know very well. Even a little child pulling the cat's tail, he knows or she knows that they are inflicting pain. So, if you wish, my nutshell religion, my nutshell faith, my nutshell moral imperative, paraphrasing Kant, of course, no one can invent anything new, I would say, thou shalt not inflict pain. Or, to be more modest, thou shalt try to inflict as little pain as you possibly can. We live in a world where we are told from all directions and all the time that which is true in the north is not necessarily true in the south. that which is ethical in Europe is not necessarily ethical in Africa. That which is holy in the East may not be holy in the West, and so on and so forth. Well, pain. Pain is universal. Everybody knows it. Thou shalt not inflict pain on others, at least as much as you can. This is not relative. This is not dependent on varying narratives and varying traditions. We know. And Jesus should have known better than that. When we inflict pain on others, we know what we are doing. Yes, sometimes we deserve to be forgiven even for inflicting pains, but not because we don't know what we are doing. Now, Jerusalem. I have a little personal confession to say. I'm from here. I was born in this city. I grew up in this city. I went to university in this city. I learned how to read in this city. I learned how to write in this city. I discovered what love is in this city and what loneliness is. Most of my novels take place in Jerusalem, although I've been living away from Jerusalem for at least 65 years now. But in my dreams, I'm very often back in Jerusalem. I don't always love this city, or to be more precise, I love Jerusalem even at times when I don't like it. I take it further. I love Jerusalem even at times when I cannot stand it, and yes, there are such times, recently. Many people are telling us these days that Jews have the right to pray on the Mount of Temple. Jews have the right to settle everywhere in the land of Israel. Palestinians have the right to return to their pre-47 homes. There is a certain fogginess about the line between right and claim. My home is rightly mine, among other reasons, because nobody challenged the fact that it is my home. If somebody would have challenged this home and challenged it seriously, my right for my home would become a claim rather than a right, maybe a powerful claim, maybe a winning claim, but a claim, not a right, as long as others are claiming it. And this, if you wish, is the difference between the right of the Israeli Jewish people to have a homeland, recognized by virtually everyone in the world, including the Arab world, with the exception of fanatics, and the right of the Palestinian people to have a national homeland, a right recognized by everybody, everywhere, except for fanatics. I don't know why Jews would not have the right to pray on the Mount of Temple, but should they? How would the very same Jews who claim that every Jew has the right to pray on the Mount of Temple, how would they like, tolerate, accept the idea of many thousands of Christians or Muslims conducting a public prayer by the Wailing Wall or in Rachel's Grove? Who knows? Who knows? Very often when the fanatics talk about right, they don't really mean right, they mean duty. When they say we Jews have the right to pray on the Mount of Temple, they don't mean the right, they mean the religious duty. When they say we Jews have the right to settle everywhere in the land of Israel, they don't really mean right, they mean a religious duty. When some fanatic Palestinians claim we have the right to every inch, every grain of sand that used to be ours before 47, they don't mean, the fanatics among them, they don't mean we have the right. They mean we have the duty to claim it, to fight for it. Right is something which you also have the right not to materialize right now. If I face a legal zebra crossing of a busy road, and there is a green light in the traffic light, and it's a marked crossing on the street, and there is even a friendly policeman marking to me Yes, come on, cross the road. Of course, I have the right to cross it. I have every right to cross it. But if I notice a heavy truck running my way at 100 miles an hour, I also have the right not to fulfill my right. It's a right, not a duty. Each time I pass by a money machine, I have the right to draw, I think, 2,500 shekels. I have the right, but not the duty. I have the right not to materialize my right, not to exercise my right. And this is what I'm talking about when I argue with fanatics on all sides. It is not about rights. It is not even about powerful claims versus weaker claims. It is about life and death. And my very simple message to my Israeli Jewish friends and to my Israeli Jewish adversaries: we are not alone in this country. We are not alone in Jerusalem. And my message to my Palestinian friends and to my Palestinian adversaries is exactly the same, word for word. You are not alone in this country. You are not alone in Jerusalem. Conclusions, solutions, some other time. Some other time. You know, by the way, curiously, that the etymology of the word fanatic, fanaticism, originate from the Latin fanum, temple. There is an ancient connection between fanaticism and temples, holy places, if you wish. Not that everyone who believes in temple, in rebuilding the temple, in worshipping of the temple, is a fanatic. But every fanatic tends to believe in some sort of duty to rebuild some temple or another, to claim exclusivity over one temple or another. I believe, and this will be a nutshell wisdom, I believe there is a partial cure to fanaticism. Curiosity. Every one of you knows that curiosity is a prime intellectual requirement. No curiosity, no discovery, no curiosity, no research, no curiosity, no invention. But I wish to tell you that in my view, curiosity is also a prime moral virtue. I think a curious human being is a better person than a person who is not human being. A better spouse, a better parent, a better neighbor. Because a curious human being asks herself or himself, what if I were him? What if I were her? What would I think? How would I feel? What would I be ashamed of? What would I like no one in the world to know about me? What would have embarrassed me? You imagine the other not in order to turn the other cheek, another disagreement between me and Jesus Christ. No, you imagine the other in order to have a better coexistence with the other. Spouse, parent, child, neighbor. I even believe that a curious person is a better driver on the road than a person who is not curious, because a curious person would ask herself or himself, what on earth this idiot is likely to do in the next second? I'll tell you more than that. I believe that a curious person is even a much better lover than a person who is not curious. And I know the audience would like me to elaborate about this particular aspect of curiosity, but the time is too early. The time of the day is too early, so trust me on this observation. Curiosity. And the other antidote to fanaticism, urgently needed here in Jerusalem, urgently needed here in Israel/Palestine, urgently needed all over the world right now, is sense of humor, in particular self-biting sense of humor, self-directed sense of humor. I have never seen a fanatic with a sense of humor, nor have I seen a person with a sense of humor becoming a fanatic unless he or she lost their sense of humor, especially a self-targeted sense of humor. This is a powerful immunity to fanaticism. If I could only condense sense of humor into capsules and persuade entire populations to swallow my humor capsules, thus immuning them to fanaticism, I would qualify for a Nobel Prize, not in literature, but in medicine. So here is my bottom line, my message about the disputed holy places, my message about holinesses conflicting ones, sacrednesses conflicting ones, in this conflicted holy city and holy land and holy anything. Sacred curiosity, sacred sense of humor, sacred sense, self-biting sense of humor. And may every one of us fight as much as one can against the internal fanatic inside each and every one of us. Thank you very much.